So, you want to know my story? Well, I guess it's when we learned how to turn nonsense into common sense. But I'm sure you want more than that. Well, my story started like most days, except this time we had an unexpected visitor from corporate.
Good morning, Mr. Rogo. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, Dave. Hanging in there.
Looks like somebody stole your space, Bob.
Yeah, either that or they decided to buy me that new car.
Oh, good. You're here. Guess who showed up this morning? Peach.
Yeah, I know. He took my parking space.
Well, he's driving everybody half crazy. He's rolling around the floor, ranting and raving about some Bucky Burnside order.
What's wrong with it?
What's 3 weeks overdue?
Peach is the division VP, and Bucky Burnside is his golf partner.
Okay. But it means stopping work on 2 other jobs and tearing down a major setup. And I got a lot of other stuff that's way more than 3 weeks overdue.
Well, I'm sure Peach has his reasons. We got to do it. Where is he anyway?
It's in your office. Good luck. He's in rare form.
Hey. Morning, Bill. Look, we're resetting to run that Burnside order as we speak.
Bucky Burnside is one of Unico's biggest customers. And I don't like it when he feels he has to call me about some lousy late order.
I'm handling it personally.
And what about all the other late orders? I hear you haven't had one on-time shipment in 4 months.
Look, I hope I don't have to remind you. This place was a mess when I got here. Then I had a layoff. Then I had a budget cut. I need more people. I need more money.
Baloney, Al! I've seen your efficiencies. You've got people and resources out there you aren't even using.
What is all this about? What is this? I mean, you know the problems I got here.
I don't have time for a lot of excuses. The fact is, this plan of yours is losing money. I need action. I need results. Here's the bottom line. I'm giving you 3 months to turn this place around. 3 months to show a profit. And if you can't, I'm closing it down. I'm closing down the plant. Look, it's corporate. Everybody's tightening belts. You know how it is.
Look, you got to give us a chance here. 3 months. 3 months is impossible.
Well, then do the impossible. Oh, good. I can still make my 10:30. 3 months. You should be thankful I'm giving you that. And I want that Burnside order shipped today. Say hi to Julie for me.
But we did get the Burnside order out, even though it meant delay just about every other order in the plant. We lost time and money. At the time, all I could think about was 280 people who were going to be out of a job. I felt responsible. And I kept asking myself, why can't I manage any better than this? And that night, I didn't go home right after work. I needed to think. I couldn't figure out what I could do. I'd already cut costs to the bone. I was pushing people as hard as I could. I mean, what else was there? I didn't know. I just didn't know. Then I remembered Jonah. A few weeks back, I'd run into an ex-professor. Jonah? Jonah, I'm Alex Rogo. I used to be one of your students. Do you remember?
Alex.
How are you?
Alex Rogo. How wonderful to see you.
You too.
Yes. Sit down.
Thank you.
What have you been doing with yourself these days?
Well, I'm managing a plant for Unico.
Really?
Yeah, I'm here on a panel. We're discussing manufacturing robots.
Robots. I'm into research on robots myself.
Really? Oh, I tell you, ours have been a godsend. Since we put those things in, we've had like 36% increase in productivity.
You mean you've earned 36% more money just by installing some robots? Incredible.
Not exactly. No, I mean, the increase was just in a certain area. It wasn't a profit.
I don't understand. If you didn't earn more money, how can you say that you had an increase in productivity?
No, I don't understand.
Let me ask you something between us. Have you sold more product because of these robots?
You mean is the plant's throughput up? Well, no, but that wasn't really the idea.
Have you reduced expenses in your plant?
No, operating expenses didn't go down.
Did your inventories go down?
Inventories? What does that have to do with it?
Just tell me. Did your inventories go down?
Offhand, no.
No. Well then, if you didn't sell more goods, and you didn't reduce the expenses, and your inventories didn't go down, then you can't tell me that your robots have increased productivity.
You see, my price per part has gone down. My efficiencies are up.
Efficiency? Are you using the right measurements?
Final call, United Airlines flight number 700.
Oh, that's me, Alex. I have to go.
So, what I'm hearing you saying is that you don't think efficiencies are important.
Efficiencies aren't the goal of a business. Why do you think your company built your business? To show off its efficiencies?
No, no.
Then why?
To make money.
Right. If the goal of a business is to make money, then you can call something productive if and only if it makes the business more money. If I were you, I'd take a good hard look at those robots of yours. I think you'll be surprised at what you find.
Okay, I will.
Good luck.
Thank you. You too.
Oh! There's a little memento from an eccentric friend.
At the time, I didn't see the importance. But now with Peach threatening to close down the plant, I could see just how right Jonah had been. I mean, he said the goal of a plant is to make money. And I obviously wasn't going to get there by measuring my efficiencies. Jonah had said to make money, I needed to look at three things. Was throughput up? Did inventories go down? And did operating expenses go down? See, I wanted to get back to the plant just to see how the robots would stand up to these new measurements. But then something happened. Hello. Oh, hi, honey. Yeah, honey, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. Look, I'll be right home, okay? Okay, bye. Hi, kids. Hey, where's the sitter?
Mom sent her home.
Where's Mom?
Kitchen.
Julie? Hi, honey. You know, I'm really sorry. I just totally forgot we were going out tonight. You know, we had this rush order at work, and we had to get it out, and, you know, it got to be a real mess.
You could have called.
You're right. You're right. I definitely should have called. I just, yeah, I got caught up in the crisis.
How unusual.
Come on, Julie. That's not fair.
Here's your dinner.
What do you mean, do the robots make us any money? Of course they do. Efficiencies are up 36%, and cost per parts are down.
Do they make us any money? Huh? How are these robots affecting the bottom line? For example, is throughput up? I mean, has there been an increase in sales since the robots came online?
No, as you know, we've been losing market shares for the last several quarters. Sales are down all over.
What about inventory? How have they affected the inventory?
It's an inventory through the roof. Warehouse is jam-packed with work in progress.
Why is that?
Well, in order to keep efficiencies up, we have to run the robots all 3 shifts.
Why aren't we using these parts to fill orders?
We will, eventually. The problem right now is we're missing other parts.
One thing you gotta admit is that the costs per part are definitely down.
But have operating expenses gone down? We've added the carrying cost of all that inventory. Plus the cost to put the robots in, so where have we cut? See, what I'm hearing here is that we're building all these parts that maybe we'll need, eventually. And we're storing them at a great expense to make the robots look good? I couldn't believe it. Our prize robots, they were actually hurting us. And I couldn't help but wonder how many more of our cost-saving ideas weren't all they were cracked up to be.
I always wondered where all our cost savings disappeared to.
We were looking at savings and cost per product. It didn't tell us much about the plant's profitability.
I told you not to use my cost accounting numbers for decisions.
You did. I must have been out of the room. Okay, look. If we're talking about buying the robots now, what questions should we be asking?
The first, we should look at the impact that robots will have on throughput.
You mean on sales?
Well, not quite. Think of throughput as the money we get from our customers minus the money that we pay our vendors.
So selling price minus raw materials price?
For the most part.
Okay. So the first question is, what's the impact on throughput?
For robots, nothing.
I bet you it won't always be that clear cut.
No, probably not.
I tell you what, it's better to be approximately right than precisely wrong.
Okay, so what?
Well, what'll the impact be on inventory? Up or down?
And what will be the impact on operating expenses, up or down?
And as long as nobody's hired or fired, you're not going to complain about cost, right? Okay, look, when we evaluate what we're thinking about doing, we have to look at the true impact. I mean, how many people are going to be hired? How much scrap can we eliminate? See, that's what's important, not this funny money allocation.
You know, using these measurements might finally allow us to do some things that make a lot of good sense.
Good. So now we know what questions to ask. Now what?
Should we reevaluate all new tooling requests? And should we take a look at our setup reduction program?
You know, we'd better.
Our priorities here are all messed up.
You know, maybe we should be looking at something more pressing, like the proposed new conveyor system. Now, I've got a feeling we're about to make the same mistakes we made with the robots, only bigger.
Well, finally, we learned what questions to ask. So now, whenever we evaluate any action or ideas, we look at the plus or the minus impact on throughput, inventory, and operating expenses. Those are the measurements that count. I knew those things would help us down the road, but I didn't see how they were going to help prevent the coming disaster. I mean, the plant was still going to be shut down in 3 months if we didn't find a way to quickly turn things around. And I knew of only one person who might know the answer. Jonah.
Do you happen to know where he went from?
The trick was finding him.
Bucharest? Would you happen to have a number where I could reach him?
Finally, after an 8-hour search, we found him in New York. He was going to be there until noon the next day, and he suggested that we have breakfast. Thank you. All right, Hi, honey. Yeah, it's me. Look, we're about going out tonight. I'm really sorry, but I have got to be on a 10 o'clock flight to New York tonight. The next morning, I brought Joan up to date on the situation at the plant. Well, you were right about the robots. Our sales are down, our costs are way up, and our inventory is just right through the roof. And I just don't know what to do about it.
I would really like to be able to help you, Alex. But the trade, you know, I haven't got very much time. I can give you a few basic concepts. And then I think you'll be able to work your solutions for yourself.
I don't think you understand. I only have 3 months.
3 months, ah! More than enough if you're diligent and you keep an open mind.
Okay. All right, well, I thought we might start with the robots.
The robots? Yeah, forget about the robots. Yes, there are much more fundamental issues here. Tell me this, why, with all your firm's wonderfully efficient technology, does everything run so slowly? Why? Why do you have so many back orders?
I think it's because we're maxed out. I mean, we don't have enough personnel, enough capacity.
But didn't you say that your inventories were going through the roof?
Yeah.
The only way that you can have excess inventory is with excess capacity.
Well, then why do you think everything's moving so slowly?
Because you haven't learned how to manage the capacity you have. You're thinking in isolation. You're measuring the efficiencies of this machine with this machine, this machine. Those efficiencies, they tell you nothing.
What do you mean to tell me nothing?
They tell you nothing about the overall productivity of the plant. Now, this is your plan. To create a product, material must pass through a series of processes. Work cannot start on any one process until the previous process is finished. Now, if each process has the capacity to produce an average of 10 parts in an hour, how many finished pieces will the plant produce?
10 parts an hour, obviously.
Never. The plant can never produce 10 parts in an hour. Never. What does an average of 10 parts in an hour mean?
Well, it means some hours you're going to have 11, and some hours you'll have 8 or 9.
The time it takes for each machine fluctuates. An average of 5 minutes. It could mean 3 minutes. And it could mean a half an hour.
Yep, right. But doesn't it all just average out in the end?
In isolation, yes, but in combination now. Think about how each process affects the other.
Jonah, we're late.
Oh, yes, Lord, I'm so sorry, Alex. I have to go.
What do I do now?
Just think about what I told you.
And then what?
And then, look for your bottleneck.
My what?
Your bottleneck. Look for it.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Goodbye.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Jonas. I needed answers, and I got riddles. But at least I got home for dinner, for a change. Got tired of waiting, went out.
Dad, wake up.
Huh?
We're gonna be late for the hike.
What hike?
The hike to the ledges. You said I could volunteer you. Remember?
Yeah. What time is it?
7:30. What are you doing sleeping down here?
Oh. I was waiting for your mom to come home.
She's upstairs sleeping. Come on, we're gonna be late.
Yeah, okay. Let me get some clothes on.
Hey, look. All right, let's go.
Hi, Dave. Hey, guys.
Hi.
So, where's Mr. Bendel?
Couldn't make it.
How come?
He's sick. Hemorrhoids. Good thing you came, Mr. Rogo. We better get going.
Yeah. Does anybody know where we're going?
Here's the map. The trail starts over there.
Well, let's gather around and try to figure out where we're going, huh?
We just start here, because we're right there.
All right. It was a 10-mile hike. I figured that ought to take us 5 hours. No problem. I started thinking about what Jonas said. It still didn't make much sense. If a piece had to go through 5 machines and each one averaged 10 pieces an hour, then every hour we finished 10 pieces. It was common sense. But Jonas said no. Why?
Dad,
What, son?
can we stop and light up? They're getting pretty far back.
Hey, come on, guys. Come on, everybody. Let's stay together. Come on, hustle up, guys. Hey, Ron, why don't you take the lead, okay? Keep a nice, easy pace. Everybody, let's try to stay up with Ron, okay? Come on, guys, hustle up. What's your name?
Herbie,
You okay, Herbie?
no problem, Mr. Rogo. I can take it.
Okay, back to Jonah. Now, what is it about machines working in combination that would slow them down? I mean, if on average, we each hike 2 miles an hour, then we should all get 2 miles every hour, right?
Hey, Mr. Rogo, can we please take a break?
Yeah, sure. Ron! Hold up! Guys. Come on, Herbie, hustle up. Hey, hold up, Ron. Come on, guys. Come on, Herbie, hustle up. Ron, I thought I said a nice, easy pace.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, look, guys, we've really got to try to stay together, okay? Take 5.
Hang on. We've been hiking over 2 hours and we hadn't gone 2 miles. What was the deal?
Okay, guys, look, we've really got to try to make an effort to pick up the pace a little bit, okay? We've got to try to stay together. Come on, break's over. We got a long way to go. Come on, let's get moving.
We hadn't gone 100 yards before the gaps started to appear again. This time Ron wasn't going too fast. He was going the same rate as everybody else. And Herbie was doing his best. So why were the kids still falling behind? Then it hit me. Whenever one kid slowed down, it slowed down all the kids behind him. And when he sped up again, it created a gap. The slowdowns got passed on to the entire group. It didn't matter how fast the kid in the front could hike. He'd only end up having to wait longer for the rest of us to catch up, which meant that the group as a whole could never move any faster than the slowest hiker, Herbie, the bottleneck.
Hey, guys, hold up. Hold up. Come on, guys. Okay, look, guys. I have an idea. From here on in, Herbie is going to be our leader.
No, you can't do this. Well, he's the slowest. With him leading us, we'll never get there.
No, but the point of the hike is not to see who gets there the fastest. It's for all of us to get there together. We're a team, okay? But the hike's not over until we all get there. Okay, you take the lead.
And so off we went. Whenever a gap appeared, Kid in the back had enough reserve to catch up. We all stayed together. Only one problem.
Hey, Hamster, I'm falling asleep back here. Can you speed it up a little? Come on, Mr. Rogo. This isn't going to work. We're never going to get there at this rate.
Look, if you want us to get there faster, we're all going to have to figure out a way to help Herbie get there faster.
Hey, Herbie, what's in your backpack? One of your beeswax.
Hold up, guys. Herbie, let me see what's in your pack. Oh, what is in this thing?
Just some stuff.
Tell me, what were you thinking here?
Just want to be prepared.
Okay. Look, if we're going to go any faster, we're going to all have to help Herbie, okay? Come on, everybody take one thing. How's that?
Much better.
All right, troop, forward march.
Well, after relieving Herbie of his pack, we covered the last 4 miles in just over 2 hours. What's more, I was beginning to get some clue about Jonah's riddle. The key to unleashing hidden resources was to find the bottleneck and do whatever you could to help it move faster. It worked with a bunch of Boy Scouts. But how was I going to make it at the plant? Well, I finally broke the news about Peach's deadline.
3 months.
What does he possibly think we can accomplish in 3 months?
Look, I've been thinking. Now, ultimately, the goal of this business is to make some money, all right? We can do that in 3 ways. We can increase our sales, we can cut our costs, and we can decrease the inventory, all right? I tried to explain about Jonah and the bottlenecks, but they weren't exactly buying it. I figured our only hope was finding Jonah.
Hang on. Alex, we've got him. On 2.
By some miracle, he was passing through this part of the country, and he agreed to stop by the plant. Well, I was glad about that, at least. I mean, with Jonah coming, I had a glimmer of hope that I could get things back in control here at the plant. But at home, life was definitely out of control. I was spending most of my time at the plant, trying to figure things out. Somewhere along the line, Julie's patience for me never being around just ran out. But she was right, though. Somehow I needed to find some balance, but with all the pressures, I didn't know how. That Thursday, Jonah arrived.
What I don't know is how we can apply the idea of the bottleneck to the problems we have here at the plant.
Tell me, what do you think a bottleneck is?
Well, I'd say that they're a constraint in a system, like when you narrow 3 lanes down to 2.
Or precisely, a bottleneck is any resource whose capacity is less than the demand placed upon it. Bottlenecks control the rate of output for the entire plant.
Okay, so how do we find them? I mean, if the bottleneck controls throughput, shouldn't our first step be to find it?
I guess we could calculate the demand for every resource, every piece of equipment in the plant, and compare it to capacity figures.
Yes, you could. But how accurate is your data? There are some quick indicators you could look for. Which work area has the largest pile of work in progress waiting to be processed?
Well, I can tell you that right off the bat. It's the NCX-10.
I mean, now, looking back, it seems so obvious. But that's the way a lot of issues are. So simple. Just common sense. I mean, the first step for us was to find or identify the bottleneck, the system constraint. Still, I remember how surprised I was with what we found.
I thought this was the most efficient machine in the plant.
It is. We just put it in last year because it produces parts faster and cheaper than any other machine.
And then why is it a bottleneck?
See, we got rid of the old machines and we bought this one because they were just way too inefficient.
And now the demand for these parts is greater than the capacity of this machine to produce them.
So what do we do?
There's only one thing to do. You have to find more capacity.
No, but Jonah, we don't have the money for more capacity.
Or the time to install it.
You don't need more money or more time. If you're like most businesses, you have capacity that is hidden because you just don't know where to look for it.
But Jonah, we have this machine. It runs all 3 shifts.
Or how many hours a day is this machine down?
I'd say between breaks, lunch, shift changes, it's down maybe 4 or 5 hours a day.
Every one of which could be an hour of capacity added to the entire plant. You have to realize that because this is a bottleneck, it determines the rate of output for everything else. An hour gained on this machine is an hour gained for your entire plant.
He was right. Any time gained on the NCX-10 moved the whole plant faster. So, we found we needed to decide how to exploit our constraint, how to squeeze the maximum out of it, and we did it. To keep the NCX-10 running more, we approached the union with a proposal to stagger break times and shift changes. They did end up agreeing, and our bottleneck gained more than 10% capacity. We also found more capacity by setting up quality control right in front of the NCX-10, so we weren't wasting valuable bottleneck time processing bad parts.
Good. So how are we doing?
Pretty good, I think. Shipped out 8 orders last week.
That's it?
Well, it's 3 more than the week before.
Why is this thing shut down?
I don't know. Let me get the foreman. Tony? Tony!
Hey, what's up?
Why is the machine down?
It's between setups. The setup guys are busy working on another machine.
How long is it going to be down?
I don't know, hour or two?
Tony, don't you know this is a bottleneck?
Who?
Look, Tony, we got to get a couple things straight here. We were really able to exploit the constraint after I told everybody what was going on. I got everybody in the plant behind the idea of making sure that the NCX-10 was treated like gold. Now, it was a constant struggle.
Oh, we're really making progress. I mean, we're catching up. The backlog of past due orders is down to 3 weeks.
That's it?
Well, I mean, we have other things to work on, too, not just backlog.
How come?
Because the right parts don't always get to the NCX-10 on time. What do you want us to do? Let the bottleneck sit idle?
We're working on material that we do have, even though it's not the most important. Stacy, is there a problem with the vendors?
Well, no, it's not the vendors. I mean, sometimes the parts for backlog just aren't ready for the bottleneck. I mean, they're still being worked on in the department that's leading it.
How come those departments aren't bottlenecks? They should have plenty of idle capacity.
Do you mean idle capacity? The non-bottlenecks still have to work.
Well, follow me, I want to show you something.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe what we have here is a fine example of a non-bottleneck machine.
Okay, so what's your point?
How many hours a day does this thing run?
3 shifts, same as every other machine.
You keep it at full capacity?
Right.
Why?
Why? Well, what are we supposed to do? Let it sit idle and do nothing?
Okay, what happens when this machine produces more parts than the bottleneck can handle?
Well, we store it as inventory until we need it.
What's the cost to store that inventory?
Enough.
A lot. Yeah, exactly. So what we're doing, we're using all our capacity to produce parts we don't need. And we're spending a fortune to store them until we need them. Now, does that put us any closer to our goal?
No, I guess not. So what are you driving at?
What I'm driving at is that we rethink the way we manage our other machines.
How?
Well, suppose we choke the release of materials to all the non-bottleneck machines. Right? We subordinate all the non-bottlenecks to the pace of the NCX-10. We process only enough to keep the constraint running at full capacity, and no more.
What would that accomplish?
Well, 2 things. Number 1 is going to cut our costs. We're going to have less raw material in-house. We'll have less work-in-progress inventory. But there's more. Choking the release is also going to reveal the capacity we need to guarantee what the bottleneck needs will always be there.
Hold it. How do you figure that?
Because we're not going to be wasting our capacity processing excess inventory. We can concentrate on getting orders out the door as opposed to into a warehouse.
But if I have less inventory on the floor, that means I'll have to do more setups.
It doesn't mean more setups, but you got to remember, those are non-bottlenecks. Right? As long as their capacity is greater than the bottlenecks, any time we save on them is just a mirage. I mean, it doesn't add to the overall productivity of the plant.
Okay, so you want me to choke the release of materials in line with the rate that the bottleneck can produce?
Precisely.
See, I knew that the output of the plant was tied to the bottleneck. But it took a while to realize that you could actually gain capacity by having all the other machines, all the non-bottlenecks, march to the tune of the system constraint. So, I stumbled on the 3rd step of what we needed to do, and that was to subordinate everything else to the NCX-10, our constraint. And it was running like it had never run before. But to be honest, I still wasn't sure if it was enough to keep the plant open.
We're making progress, but not enough. We have to find more capacity for the bottleneck.
Is there a way we can alleviate some of its load?
What do you mean?
Well, can't we find a way to somehow process the NCX-10 parts differently?
Well, if we could, that would elevate the constraint.
Elevate?
Yeah, elevate. We could lift some of the load from the bottleneck to other resources. That would make the NCX-10 more productive. Stacy, you're brilliant.
I might have an idea. Maybe not too efficient, but an idea. I'm gonna make a call.
Well, we were off and running again. But this time our mission was to find ways to lift away the constraint and elevate the NCX-10 to a new level of productivity. We elevated the NCX-10, removing our constraint, by finding alternatives to processing parts on other machines. Can't we process this on the N11?
The N11 can't handle this part.
Well, what if we ran it first on the A15 processor?
Maybe, but it means 2 setups.
That's okay. That's okay. Just show me how we can do it. And Bob, well, he brought me what he called a surprise gift.
Ta-da!
What is that?
That is a Zamegma. They don't make them anymore.
I'm glad to hear that. It looks state-of-the-art 1950.
Yeah, maybe, but the beauty of this little baby is that it can process NCX-10 parts. Maybe not too efficiently, but it could give us 15% more production.
What did it cost?
Well, we did have to pay the rental fee on the truck. And it even works. I checked it myself.
Well, Bob, that could be just about the best present anybody ever gave me. What's this?
I'll tell you in the toast I'm gonna make, just as soon as everybody has something to swallow.
I went through the records and I discovered that this month we have done better than any month in the history of the plant.
So, here's to a new plant record.
Here's to it. Congratulations. Well, it felt great just to take a moment and celebrate. And that night I even asked Julie to go out to dinner to one of the nicest restaurants in town so we could celebrate together, for once. Unfortunately, she didn't share my enthusiasm. We still couldn't find any common ground. So I turned to where the odds were better. Back at the plant.
Well, good news. As of 3 this afternoon, we're caught up on our entire backlog.
No kidding.
Hey, you just don't appreciate how good we are.
No, I do, but...
Oh, but what? You afraid we're gonna ask for a raise?
No, not that. I mean, just, there's a good chance that corporate's still gonna shut us down. And I'm just thinking, what does it mean that we were able to eliminate the backlog?
That means that we were supplying the NCX-10 faster than we were getting new orders.
That means that the NCX-10 isn't a constraint anymore.
Right. So if the constraint is no longer in the plant, then it must be in the market.
Good. Now it's marketing's hot potato.
Yeah, but what we should be asking is what can we do?
Like what?
Well, if the NCX-10 is no longer the constraint, what happens if we keep running it at full blast?
Means we're going to have a lot of finished goods on our hands.
Which costs us a lot of money to store. I feel like we're going around in circles.
Well, it was a circle, all right. And that revelation meant we had to start all over again by going back to step one. And at the same time, we had to take a look at all the decisions we had made when the NCX-10 was our bottleneck. Actually, we changed quite a few of them. The following Monday, I had a meeting with Mitch. He wanted an update on how the plant was doing. So, as you can see, we practically wiped out our backlog of overdue orders. We're starting to show a profit.
Very impressive. Good job.
So are we off the hook?
No.
No. Look, we're on our way back. We're starting to make money here. Look.
You've had one good month. Can you give me a second? A third?
Absolutely.
Maybe. You've caught up on your backlog. What have you done to control costs or build up your efficiencies? But no buts. You've had one good month. Good job. But it's not enough.
What's it going to take?
Give me another 15%. You can deliver that, you can stay open.
I think we can do that. Another 15%? Was he out of his mind? I must have been out of my mind. I had no idea I was going to come up with another 15%. After all, the constraint wasn't in the plant anymore. It was in the market. It was outside of my control. Or so I thought.
Alex Rogo. What brings you to this glue factory?
Johnny Johns. How's life in the exciting world of marketing?
Well, could be better, could be worse.
You don't look like you're doing too bad. I see you still have those high-ticket Gucci's.
Yeah, well, you got to work the image. Say, listen, I'm hearing good reports about that plant of yours.
Yeah, we're trying some new stuff. Got the back orders down. What's the sales outlook?
Funny you should ask. Just talked to an old pal of yours, Bucky Burnside.
Yeah, right.
What's his problem now?
Get this. He got himself into a major bind, and he needs 2,000 Model 12s in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Can you believe it? I mean, 2 months, maybe.
Hold on, what if I said we could deliver that order?
I would say you need to seek professional help. And then I would say I'd rather tell him no than make him a promise I can't deliver on.
Well, I have to talk to someone, but I think we can deliver the order. Matter of fact, I'll bet you a pair of those Gucci's that we deliver the order.
Al, you are a maniac. But you're on. You are on, my friend.
Right.
I'll catch you later.
That order could give us the 15% we needed, but I had no idea how we were going to do it. I did not see how we could do it in 2 weeks, but I knew we had to. We had to find a way to exploit the market constraint by shrinking the delivery time to Bucky Burnside. The next morning, I filled everyone in on Peach's latest ultimatum, and I dropped the bombshell.
Well, there is one piece of good news. We have an opportunity to fill an order for Bucky Burnside for 2,000 Model 12s. Hey. But he needs them in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes.
There's a 2-month lead time on Model 12.
Can't be done, no how, no way.
Okay, maybe, maybe not. Let me ask you a question. Say we get a batch of 1,000 parts, and we process one of those parts. And what are the other 999 doing?
Waiting.
Which makes my point. It's not that we don't have enough time. It's that we're wasting it. If we cut that batch in half, that means that batch goes through the whole process in half the time, right?
Right, but it still won't work. Most of the time, batches are waiting in the queue for the machine to do another batch. So
we cut batches on all orders.
well, wait a minute. That means more setups.
That's non-bottlenecks, remember. Non-bottlenecks.
Well, on machines that don't have the spare capacity, we could set them up to run several identical small batches back to back. See, that way we don't have to worry about resetting the machine.
I don't like this.
I don't think we have much choice. Our constraint is the market. And the only way to exploit that is to have fast response and faster delivery, right? But we have got to subordinate everything based on that decision. That means cutting batches.
If we don't get this order, there's no way we'll make that extra 15%. Peach will shut us down.
Okay. If we have to, we have to. But I still don't like it.
You know, there's one small problem.
What?
Well, Model 12s require control modules, and we have about 500 in-house. And I know the vendors can't deliver the rest that fast.
All right, can they deliver 500 by next week?
I can call.
All right, you call them, I'll call Johnny Jones.
We couldn't deliver the whole order in 2 weeks,
What
but we
is that?
could deliver 500 units each week for 4 weeks.
Wait a minute, he said he prefers 500 a week? So we got this order. Thank you, Johnny. Might you just save my plan?
But we went through what I now call the process of ongoing improvement, a second time. The market was now the constraint, and to exploit it, we had to be fast. So we subordinated all decisions to that. We started to move things in small batches. And the plan shifted into high gear. Something that used to take 3 weeks took 3 days. Still, it was pretty close.
What do our profit figures look like?
Well, I don't know about 15%, but we're not doing bad.
What are they?
Maybe 11%.
That's not good enough. We need 15. He wants 15.
Alex, you're not going to believe this.
Is that a helicopter right here?
It's landing in the parking lot.
The first one looks like Johnny John's.
It is Johnny Jones. Oh. It's Bucky Burnside. What did you say the status of his order was?
We shipped it yesterday.
On time.
Yeah, a day early, in fact.
No problems.
Not that I know of.
Why is he here?
Shake your hand. Very fine job. Thank you. Well, Bucky Burnside, I want to shake your hand. Thanks for a very fine job.
Somebody pinch me.
Mr. Burnside, this is Alex Rogo, the plant manager.
Ah, here's the man I especially wanted to congratulate. Fine job, Rogo.
Well, thank you, Mr.
I
Burnside.
came down here because I wanted to shake the hand of every employee in this whole plant. A hell of a job you did on that order of mine. I was backed in a corner, and you guys saved my butt.
I was telling Mr. Burnside at lunch about how you and the plant went all out.
Well, we did our best.
Oh, a fine job. Now, if you'll excuse me, I want to be sure I don't miss anybody. Hi, Bucky Burnside.
We're getting together with his people next week to talk about a hefty, and I do mean hefty, long-term contract for Model 12. Keep this up, we're going to own this market. By the way, these are for you. Keep it up, and I'll get you a new suit to go with them. Later, babe.
It was a glorious day, one that I will never forget, for more than one reason. That night, Julie and I, we took a long walk. And for the first time in a long time, we were able to really talk. And she reminded me of something.
You remember when you asked me about the goals of our marriage?
Yeah.
What do you think they should be?
I think we should try to understand each other better. I think we should work harder to make sure that our kids grow up to be good people.
Do you think you're doing anything to get us there?
Not much. You know, if I've learned anything in these past couple months, it's that you can just work so hard sometimes. You don't even ask yourself anymore, all this that I'm doing, does this get me any closer to where I want to be?
So what now?
What now? We get married.
Well, do I get another honeymoon?
What's the point?
Oh.
Well, we decided to take that much-needed second honeymoon after I met the deadline with Peach. Unfortunately, we reported only a 12% gain.
How you doing, Mr. Rugo?
I'm hanging in there, Dane, hanging in there.
Right.
Okay, Bill, I know 12% is not 15%, but we did the best job we could, and I couldn't pull it off, so.
What are you talking about?
Shutting down the plant.
Why would I want to do that? This is the best performing plant in the whole division.
What, so we're still in business?
Are you out of your mind? I'd have to be nuts to close this place.
Well, so then what do I owe the honor of this visit?
Well, for one thing, I wanted to tell you you did a good job. I'm still not sure how the heck you did it, but good job.
Thank you, Peach.
Right. Now that we got that out of the way, I wanted to talk to you about that plant in Summerfield. The place is a disaster. How would you feel about managing that plant as well?
Are you offering me a promotion?
Yes, I guess I am. Look, here's the problem.
And so life went on. And I did tell Peach I'd talk over the promotion with my wife on our vacation.
Dad?
Yeah?
It's a man named Jonah.
Jonah, really? Wow. It'll take 1 second. Just 1 second.
I just wanted to see how you were doing.
Well, I'm glad to say that the plant is going to stay open. They've actually asked me to manage another one, thanks to you.
I just pointed the way you did the thinking.
Yeah, well, in the end, we're finally making some money.
Making money is the goal of a business, but it isn't mine. And I don't think it's yours.
Well, then what is it?
It's something you'll have to find for yourself.
Jonah.
Alex, I have to go. Goodbye.
Bye, Jonah. Jonah. Without his guidance, I would have been looking for a new job. And so would a lot of other people at this plant. He showed me a process of ongoing improvement, the theory of constraints. First, you need to look for your bottleneck, identify the system constraint, then decide how to exploit it. How do you get everything you can out of it? Next, subordinate everything else to the above decisions. And then elevate the constraint to a new level of productivity, strengthen it. And once you've done that, it probably isn't a system constraint anymore. And so then you need to go back to step one and start looking for your new constraint all over, your new bottleneck, your new challenge to overcome. Sound like a never-ending process? Well, it was. Well, it is. But that's the answer to your question. How did it all start? I mean, how do we turn a division that consistently fared poorly into the most profitable one? Well, because a man named Jonah showed me some tools to use to help me turn nonsense into competence.